Welcome, fellow patriots and truth seekers. I'm Just-Jess with 11th Hour Industries, Inc., and we've got some explosive information coming our way. I've spent hours researching a lot of the interviews and emails and messages that have been coming out today, and I am absolutely blown away by what was just learned and what is currently developing right now. We're going to start off with some information that we're getting out. I'm going to go ahead and pull up that part on my laptop so I can give you accurate information. The Chinese whistleblowers announced earlier today, or maybe it was yesterday, in one of their videos that it is coming to light that Joe Biden actually sold out 30 of our American spies in China, and that he was paid handsomely for it. And when I heard that, I remembered hearing back in 2010 to 2012 about American spies being killed in China. And so I kind of just Googled 30 American spies killed in China. And some of the headlines read, how China found CIA informants and executed them. U.S. secretly expelled Chinese officials suspected of, China kills CIA sources, hobbled U.S. spying from 2010. 30 spies dead after Iran cracked CIA comms network. Chinese government killed and imprisoned 18 to 20 CIA agents. Now, this is crazy, and from what I'm told, that there is evidence that Joe Biden is actually the one that supplied the information to these Chinese government, and that it was not a hack. I know, finding out from watching, various documentaries, that one of the things that the U.S. government likes to use to cover their tracks is the word hack. Usually, if you hear the word hack, it's not actually a hack. It's actually the U.S. covering their ass. And this is scary and really mind-blowing, because even though I've questioned a lot of things, major stories, there's certain things that I've just never really contemplated or maybe pieced together, that Joe Biden could have been the person that leaked our CIA assets in China. I mean, these are American individuals that were murdered because of what? Money? And from what I'm finding out is basically the Chinese Communist Party has been building to compromise Joe Biden. And he fell right into the trap and jumped right on board. I think the goal at the time when they started this was to get Joe Biden as president, and then when he decided he wasn't going to run, they figured, well, the Democratic Party is already compromised, because now we're getting further reports that Hillary Clinton, Feinstein, Schiff, Pelosi, they're all involved. They're all compromised, and apparently there's a lot of information, factual information and data that's being shared right now that backs up all of these claims. And like I said, the group that is putting out this information has not been wrong. They said well in advance that the laptops for Hunter Biden was going to be released, and that they were going to be explosive. And just today, Ukraine has told everybody, announced, I guess is a better word, that they have a second laptop. And so I'm assuming that soon there's probably going to be a third laptop appearing. This would make sense for the 3 hard drives that were apparently sent to the DOJ and to Nancy Pelosi last year. And this is building up to be much, much more than what was initially reported. And now, the further that the investigation goes into digging deeper, we're finding out a lot of explosive information. A lot of whistleblowers are coming forward. American patriots, Chinese patriots, world patriots are finally standing up and saying no more. We're done being controlled by communists. We're not going to have our lives dictated. We are free people. We deserve to be free in America. That's why our Constitution was written, so that way there was laws in place to protect the people, and somehow or another individuals have been able to stay in power and just completely overrun the system without being held accountable. And we've seen that clear as day. And back when the Hillary Clinton emails were coming to light, and then Anthony Weiner's laptop was exposed, and hardened New York City police officers were throwing up and crying and shaking in the bathroom because what was on those videos on the laptop was so horrendous. And now there are at least 15 different sources that have said what is on Hunter Biden's laptop that the FBI has had since 2019 makes Anthony Weiner's laptop look like amateur hour. Now I want you to think about that, because from what I know and from what I've seen distributed, on Tor, is absolutely deplorable. What they do to these children is absolutely deplorable. And a lot of people have pushed that it's a conspiracy theory. I know that the House, the Democrats have been pushing to have QAnon and Anons and Q put into like a terrorist organization, and I truly believe it's because people were actually blowing the lid open and bringing to light what is actually happening and why Hollywood is so defending of the Democratic Party. And at this point, I don't even think that it's just Democrats. There's definitely Republicans involved in this. I know that John Kerry was definitely compromised. I know that a lot of other people were involved in some very, very shady, dark business. And it has been able to go on because nobody has been held accountable. No one has had to answer for their crimes. There's always been somebody in place, whether it be the CIA, the DOJ, the FBI, a senator, a congressman, a president, in place to protect all of these assets, I guess you could call them. Everybody that is out there making terrible choices, that are engaged in child trafficking, that are engaged in human trafficking, that are engaged in extorting countries like Ukraine, stealing from the Chinese people. I mean, these are all real human beings, just like you and I, that are being absolutely taken advantage of. It is crimes against humanity, actually, and it is become so widespread, so deep. The Chinese whistleblowers are saying that there's actually more like 100 hard drives, and it's not just the United States. It's not just the Bidens that are involved in this. And that's why Trump becoming president absolutely threw a huge wrench in their plan, because that wasn't the plan. And nobody actually believed that Trump could win. And that's why they kind of slept on the 2016 elections, because they thought, Hillary's just going to get it. And there's no way that some outsider is going to come in and win. And surprise, he did. And he can't be bought and he can't be controlled. And I'm going to get away from the Trump aspect of it, because I don't want this to be like, oh, you're only Trump and that's the only reason you're making these videos. No. I am, first and foremost, a mom. And I love my children. And I want my children safe. And I believe that all children matter. And that all children deserve to have a healthy life growing up. They deserve to have a childhood. And if that means going up against the most elite, I'm willing to do it. Because somebody has to do it. Because no one has done it for so long. People have turned the other way. They've looked away. They've held their head in shame. It's too hard to see. I don't want to see it. I can't imagine that. Well, imagine it. It's there, and these emails, these videos, these pictures, they're coming out. And sources are saying that they're just trying to figure out a way that they can release these images without re-victimizing the children or spreading child pornography. And I don't even like using the word child and pornography in the same sentence, because what it is, let's call it what it is. It is child rape. They are raping these children. And from what I was told was, not only is there videos of torture and rape for Chinese children, around 10, I think they said that the ages of the girls looked. I believe one of the descriptions was breaking their jaws. But there's also videos of him sexually raping and torturing Ukrainian children as well. I know that sometimes hearing things like breaking a child's jaw is really hard to digest, and it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's something, if we're going to clean our world and free itself of what's happening, so that way we don't have to continue dealing with it, to purge it out, it's got to come to light first. Darkness to light. So if it means seeing some of the trauma, I think we owe it to the children that have died because of this. I think we owe it to them to put our big girl and boy panties on, or boxers, pull up our bootstraps, and stand tall and be their voices, because they don't have one. They're not allowed to have one because they're indisposable. There are millions of children that are indisposable to these people. Now, on the second hard drive, it is being said that more of these emails and the dealings with the Biden family are outlined in the hard drives. So we're going to see the continued corruption that was occurring, not just in Ukraine, but it was also billions of dollars in China, millions of dollars from Russia. And then I noticed on someone that was reporting, they had put up an article from a watchdog group. And basically this watchdog group is asking for an investigation into the University of Pennsylvania, the Biden Center. Apparently, they've failed to disclose over $70 million in donations from China. And actually, the fact that they absolutely refused to release the financial donor data is why this watchdog was alerted, because they received $900,000 in payments. I mean, $23 million. It's really out there. I mean, you can look up the information about the watchdog at freebeacon.com. And you can just type in watchdog raises questions about China influence. It outlines everything. The $70 million, including a $22 million donation from an anonymous source. And what I'm reading is apparently the best way to launder money is to make donations anonymously, because no one questions it, because it's a donation to a university for education purposes. I also found out through research and through other patriots that the Biden Center launched a U.S.-China relations project in relation to the tensions that were growing between the U.S. and China. Specifically speaking towards the TikTok and WeChat problems. Now, many Americans are concerned about the Chinese Communist Party having access to all of our information that's contained. I know a lot of people don't really pay attention when they're accepting the terms and conditions of apps that they get because, oh, it's fun and you can make fun dances. Well, all of that fun leaves open access to the Chinese Communist Party. Every keystroke, every input, passwords, data, websites, conversations, private conversations between you and your mom, you and your dad, you and your husband, you and your wife. All of these conversations are fair game when the Chinese Communist Party is involved. And that's why there was panic about these apps, because part of the Chinese Communist Party way of being a tyrant is they force companies that are doing business in China to allow them to have free access to everything they have. So basically they own half of everything that all of these businesses. They can say, I want this data, and the owners of the app, in this case, have no choice but to turn it over. And everything is recorded in real time. So there's no protection here. And Biden decides that he should launch a U.S.-China relations project through the University of Pennsylvania. That's fun stuff. So Tony Blinken worked with Joe Biden, and at one point he served as a NatSec advisor to Biden from 2009 to 2013. He actually was a lot more than that. I'm just quickly looking at another article I popped up from an awesome source on Twitter that has been linking a lot of articles and connecting the dots. And I've got to tell you really quick before I get into what I was going over here, I really appreciate everybody, all of the patriots and digital soldiers that are sharing this information, that are making it public knowledge, because there's a way of making things just disappear on the internet, and people who are well informed can make educated decisions and educated choices and educated opinions. And right now, being able to critically think about why you want to make a certain choice is absolutely imperative. Everyone needs to be making life choices right now that will help not only themselves, but those around them. Because united we stand and divided we fall. So apparently in 2017, Blinken, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, co-founded WestX Advisors, and with Flerney, who is also on Biden's foreign policy team. And you know what WestX does, the company? They help clients expand market access in China. So what I'm seeing, everything goes back to China. Even Ukraine goes back to China. Everything goes back to China. Apparently, from all of the interwebs and documents, videos, emails, affidavits, the Chinese Communist Party has been since around 2010, and probably before then, but these are actual verified documents from various sources all over the world. They've been working since 2010 to infiltrate every single country in the world, because the end game is for them to have one global power. And that kind of sounds familiar with the whole deep state thing, where a group of people run the entire world. And how they're achieving that is by compromising people. Now, it has been reported that Hunter Biden, when he was making these deals with China, knew that part of the agreement to getting this money was that he had to not only rape a child, but he had to physically torture this child. And it wasn't just one child. And the Chinese Communist Party recorded it as an insurance policy to make sure that he would do everything that he said he would do, and that the Biden family and that really United States of America would comply with everything that they wanted. So they set up the Biden family. I mean, the Biden family willingly did all of this, so it's not like, you can be like, oh, they were backed into this, or oh, they made a mistake. You don't make a mistake when you're raping children. You don't make a mistake when you're torturing children. I don't care if they're Chinese. I don't care if they're African. I don't care if they're Ukrainian. I don't care if they're German. I don't care if they're Swedish. It doesn't matter. It does not matter their ethnicity. It doesn't matter. There's no excuse. But they allowed themselves to be set up and put into a position where they received $1.5 billion from the Chinese, and the exchange was Hunter Biden explicitly participating on film the rape and torture of children. Joe Biden sold out 30 spies to the Chinese. And the government, the media, Hollywood, they can all spin it however they want. They can say it's Russian influence. They can say it's a hack. They can say that, it was implanted, it's made up, but the fact of the matter is that there's documents. And finally, the right people at the right time got their hands on those documents and did the right thing. The hashtag, if you see something, say something. Well, we should thank the Chinese whistleblowers. Because of them, the U.S. has a chance to not go through this socialism, communism, disgusting road that we've been being drugged down through. We should thank every single whistleblower that is standing up and that has the courage to make a difference. Because it's not just my life they're making a difference in. It's making a difference for everybody. Everybody globally. Because if we lose, everybody loses. Because our government has powers like Joe Biden did when he was pressuring the Ukrainian government to fire prosecutors. Think about that. A man, a good man, even the president of Ukraine at the time, Poroshenko, said the prosecutor was a good guy, that he hadn't done anything wrong. There was actually audio release of that. A good man lost his job, his ability to substantiate himself and be a productive human being in society because he was investigating Burisma. Think about that. It doesn't matter if it's happening in the United States. People are people and they deserve to live free. They deserve to be able to conduct in life and not be fired because they're doing their job. We need to change the mentality of doing the right thing will make you end up being fired or murdered or your reputation destroyed. We need to change that. We need to start rewarding those who do well and those who do the right thing, and we need to start punishing those who break the law. And we need to start at the very top. We need to start at the very top. And the first person who should be indicted on treason and RICO and crimes against humanity is Joe Biden. Next, Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff, Hillary Clinton, Christopher Wray, Ron Stein, The list goes on for all of these people. James Comey, I forgot him because he's on my shit list too. Every single person that compromised the United States of America deserves to be prosecuted for treason, because ultimately they conspired with a foreign government against our country. And they set up our American citizens to be murdered. Think of how many people are dead right now, single-handedly, because of Joe Biden and his corruption and his greed. All of these people are greedy for money and power, and they will do anything it takes, including raping of children, to make that happen. We are digital soldiers. The time is now. We must use our voice, we must stand up, and we must hold our government accountable. We pay them with our taxes. It's time. It's time. It's time, patriots. This is Just-Jess signing off. Peace.
Joe Biden is always and has been a corrupt politician. And as far as I'm concerned, the Biden family is a criminal enterprise. If you read this laptop, I tell you what, this is called the laptop from hell. The only laptop that was almost as good, maybe worse, was the laptop of Anthony Weiner. You remember that? Ding, 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 ding. He got hacked too, just like Scully got hacked. Remember he said he got hacked? He was sending messages to very, very young women, girls. He was sending messages, a lot of them. And he got hacked. They always say they got hacked. Scully got hacked, right? Scully. He was a never-Trumper. He got hacked.